You're now listening to the Cerberus Gridiron Podcast. And now your hosts, Christian and Chris, powered by Cerberus Fantasy Sports.
Welcome in, everybody, to episode 9 on the Cerberus Gridiron Podcast. I'm your host, Christian_CFS. And as you can see right now, we don't have a co-host right now. But we're not going to do that to y'all. We know how all y'all been talking about, man, who is this guy, Mr. NM Porterfield, like burn the playbook. Y'all want to see him more and more. So we decided to bring him back again. I know y'all seen him. And let's just go and bring him on, y'all. Let's go and bring him on. So with further ado, we're about to welcome in Mr. NM Porterfield from Burn the Playbook.
What's going on, y'all? What's going on? I'm doing good. Man. I'm doing great. I'm ready for the season to start, man. It's been it's like dead months whenever football season ain't going on. I don't get into NBA and baseball. I watch fights, but other than that, I'm always waiting for football to come back around. So it's getting closer. I'm dancing on my toes. I'm doing that dance like when you got to use the bathroom real bad, but you can't get to it quick enough.
Like that little baby dance.
That dance where you on your tiptoes.
Yeah, up on the tiptoes, dancing back and forth.
That's where I'm at right now, man. So I'm excited. I'm ready. Been doing some drafts, got the draft guide out and everything. So I'm excited about that. So just, ready, man. I'm ready.
Hey, man, you got to be ready, man, especially up in the streets. And then everybody, welcome in again. And for this episode, we're going to talk about draft strategies because we know that everybody right now is getting into those draft season.
Right.
Y'all feeling it, but you might not know some of the key things that you need to focus on whenever you're getting up into a draft. So we actually going to do another live draft so y'all can see us in action, and we're gonna do a team together. NM Porterfield and then Christian_CFS, myself, are gonna do a draft together on Underdog, and we're gonna get into it. So here we go. So right now we're just gonna sit here, and the first thing, since we are we're actually in the draft, we're just waiting right now. So some of the first couple of things that like people really don't end up doing is understanding the format. So as we're waiting for people just to join and everything, we're just going to make sure that we understand the format.
Right. And so one of the things I talk about in my guide, the first thing you need to do whenever you join a league, have the commissioner or somebody send you a screenshot with all the rules, how the scoring is set up, all of that, because you don't want any surprises. I know one year I didn't ask those questions and found out I was in a Superflex league. And I was like, why is everybody taking quarterbacks in the first round? And then come to find out that was the reason why. So you definitely want to make sure that you ask those questions. You do that investigation before you, man, this thing filled up quick. Do that investigation before you sit down for any type of draft. Because if you don't have a strategy, if you don't know what the format is before you go in, your strategy going to be all off. Your strategy should be reflective of what the format is.
So with this format, so the scoring for receptions is 0.5 per reception, receiving touchdowns at 6, rushing touchdowns is 6, receiving yards is 0.1, rushing yards is 0.1, passing TDs is 4, interception is -1, and passing yards is 0.04.
So it sounds like your basic half point PPR,
That's
um,
exactly what it is. But
and
then the
which is
roster size, you
now
also
that's
want to think about that too as well. The
absolutely.
roster size, you got one QB, you have three wide receivers, two running backs, one tight end, one flex position, and this flex position is your ordinary flex position with wide receiver, running back, and then tight end, and then you got 10 bench spots.
And those bench spots will fill up quicker than you realize if you ain't if you ain't paying attention to it.
That is true. That is true. So it seems like we are picking from the 10th spot here. And what are some of the guys that you thinking about actually taking around up in like the 10th spot? I have
So
I have two or three people up in mind that who I would go with, but I want to hear your strategy around who you would like to select around like the 10th round. I mean like
so
the 10th pick.
right. So there's two kind of thoughts that I have when it comes to the later round picks. You're going to miss out
Hmm.
on those top receivers, which those are guys you usually want to target. However, picking later, you usually have an opportunity to play a little hero RB, which means you get a solid running back and then you can follow up with another receiver. And then on your next go around, if you want to get another running back, you can. So I would tend to do a running back. Now, with the way the running back market is now, it's a little bit
All right, dog. We only got 15 seconds,
oh,
man.
my bad. Go
So,
ahead and get your receiver. Get your receiver. So
so the
yeah,
receiver that I'm going with is CD Lamb, is
right,
because I think he's going to end up being a top tier wide receiver this year because he was on the cusp of last year. So
right.
I'm big on CD Lamb this year, and what NM Porterfield was saying. It's also good to get running backs up in the late round, especially when everybody is dodging. Because the one thing you want to do is you want to stick to your strategy, whatever your philosophy is. Whenever you're going into it, you want to have it in concrete, but also be understanding that just because you're going in with the strategy, you can always zig when like other people zag. So you don't
Right.
always have to stay true to your philosophy.
You got to be flexible. You got to be able to adapt, and you also got to pay attention to what everyone else is doing. So if your strategy was to grab a running back, and then you start seeing all these running backs go earlier than expected, and they're leaving a lot of value receivers on the board, it's okay to
Hmm.
switch up and grab that receiver that's going to be there because those points are valuable. You got the weighted value of each reception in a PPR league is much more important than each carry. So for per carry, you're going to get about 0.32, and per reception is going to be about 1.3.
So right now we have some good prospects on. We only got about 16 seconds. So between Garrett Wilson, Jalen Waddle, or Chris Olave, which one would you end up taking?
I would take Chris Olave.
And the funny thing about that is, I was happy you said that because that's who I wanted to take anyways. But I wanted to get your perspective because I'm really high on Chris Olave this year. I really think he's going to do big numbers.
Right. I think I mean he did good numbers last year with subpar quarterback play. So that's kind of one of the things is and then his average depth of target for other receivers was a lot better. So he's getting the ball downfield. His air yards are a lot different than some of these other receivers. Some of these guys are only catching these dink and dunk passes, and so they're not getting as much opportunity for points. You know, if every pass he catches is 15 yards down the field, one catch is going to be worth 2.5 points versus someone else who catches it 5 yards down the field. That catch is only worth 1.5 points. So these are things to consider when you're looking at what types of receivers you want to go after.
Okay. Yeah, that's how I feel. I'm really high up on Chris Olave this year. I think he can end up putting in more yards than like what he did last year, especially with Derek Carr coming in.
And
Because I got a feeling that he's going to use him sort of similar to like how Da is,
mhm.
and I think this is the year that Chris Olave is actually going to take the torch from. I know everybody out there is going to probably be like, this dude's been hurt for like the longest. I didn't even know he was still up on the team. Yes, everybody, Michael Thomas is still one of the top tier wide receivers for the Saints, but he's been hurt. But I really have a big feeling that Chris Olave is actually just going to take that torch from him and be the sheer hold number one receiver that they've been looking for since he kind of stepped up last year. doing
Right.
that.
And so when you look at Derek Carr, who was one of the top quarterbacks in deep shots last year, and then you
Hmm.
look at Chris Olave being one of the receivers who was one of the top deeper reception receivers last year. It's just like a perfect marriage of quarterback and receiver. And you like to see those types of things. Like it's almost the exact opposite of what's happening in Vegas with Devontae and Jimmy G. Jimmy G
Yeah.
being more of a short to intermediate thrower, and Devontae can work all over the field. But last year, with Derek Carr throwing him the ball deep, he was able to benefit off that. Versus with Jimmy, he's still gonna get the yards, but it's gonna look different. So
Right.
all right, so with what you have right now, because you're what 8 picks away, are
So what
you
we have right now is like a CD Lamb, like Chris Olave. And the
so?
one thing that I'm looking at right now is I'm looking at running backs right now to see like which one is going to actually give me that edge. A lot of people have been. We know JT's going through his thing right now with the Colts. He wants to get paid, and that's the reason why he's going to continue to drop because a lot of people are just scared of him. And same thing with Josh Jacobs. A lot of
Right.
people are scared of him as well because he wants that contract. But we know personally these guys are good, and to get them where they're going right now at the ADP, like it might be a steal just taking him there. And let's say he does come back like week 1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And now everybody is all upset because he was actually taken. Because right now, everybody, this is underdog. We're doing a best ball league. And right now, JT has fallen into the 3rd round. And like he's fallen. He's fallen. Like we just did 3.7 right now. And then Jameer Gibbs went over him.
And he
And I
would
was thinking
typically
about
be a
taking him.
first round,
So
late first
I
round.
might end up doing this. A lot of people might think this is crazy, but I might end up going. I already know the route you would go because you're a big advocate. Oh, never mind. He already got taken. So never mind. We ain't got to worry about that. Brees Hall.
Yeah, he
But
going
what
Gibbs
the,
in.
the
Oh,
the route I would go is if this guy Sweetleaf, I don't know who he is, but he already so he pretty much did the same thing we ended up doing, taking 2 wide receivers.
mhm.
So right here, I'm thinking about either Najee or Travis Etienne right here.
So, and I like both of those.
Hmm.
Oh, for because I believe that the offense is ascending, and the coach recently said he should get 1,600 yards rushing, I would go ETN.
Okay. So those are the 2 guys that I had in punch. So what I'm trying to hope for that's going to end up happening is I'm hoping Najee is going to come back to us up on the turn at like 4.03.
And then you get
But we'll
both.
have to wait and see. But I don't think so because if you look behind, like the guy that was actually picking at 3.12, he has no running backs. So most likely he's going to grab like a Najee, and then okay, he did not. He grabbed Jacobs and then Debo Samuels. Wow.
It's
Now,
possible. One more. All
well,
right.
there. See, so
All
as
right.
y'all can see, like our strategy ended up picking up. So like Najee did not get picked up at all. So we're going to end up getting Najee right here. And we have also got Travis Etienne. And with that, our running backs are Travis Etienne and Najee Harris, just like the 2 guys we just picked. And in our wide receiver room, it's CD Lamb and Chris Olave. And since this is a best ball league, we will want to try to stack some of these positions. So we're not going to force anything because we got to stick to the strategy, which is understand the format. But we might try to do a little finagling here to see what's actually out there. And we're not going to force like a Justin, like a Trevor Lawrence and Kenny Pickett. If we want him to stack him with Najee, we can get him up in the late rounds and
Yeah.
like do like a stack with like George Pickens, Najee, and Kenny Pickett.
I like that.
And everybody's not high up on Derek Carr. Derek Carr, we all know Derek Carr, the Saints have either the number 1 or number 2 easiest schedule this year.
They have the
And
number
with
1
them having
easiest.
the number 1 and number 2 easiest schedule is this year, those are 2 good options to just to think about up in the back end. Like you might want to get your stud, which our stud could be Trevor Lawrence. that could be our stud this year. But then up on the back end, like our two fillers at quarterback could end up being Kenny Pickett and then Derek Anderson. David Carr.
Okay.
I don't know why I was about to say Derek Anderson. Like I'm thinking about the whenever he played for the Cardinals. But
So
as we're
at the top of the available players right now, we still have Christian Watson, Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore. So those are still some good value receivers. You're 10 picks away. The thing that I've been seeing in the drafts that I've done that has been hard to land. It's been hard to land tight ends. Tight end is already a scarce position.
Yep.
And so you either have to reach for your tight end, which I got lucky on. Well, not lucky. Travis Kelce has been going around pick 3, 4, 5, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
And so I did have one draft where I was pick 4 and I took Kelce there.
Okay.
But every other one, I've been either having to reach to get my tight end, or I've been having to take tight ends that I may not be as high on, and I'm just really banking on the upside there. Guys like Darnell Washington, hoping for a touchdown equity with him, or somebody like that, or Noah Fant, just hoping that maybe the Seahawks offense just gives him a lot of opportunity. So that's one thing that I've noticed in the various formats, because I've done some super flex, I've done some done some PPR, some standard, and it seems like you basically have to view Travis Kelce like a receiver now. Even though he's at the tight end position, he's being drafted like he's one of the top 5 receivers. So you have to view him that same way. And so really your tight ends are going to start at Mark Andrews, and then it's going to go Andrews, Hawkinson, Waller, guys like that. And then after that, you got to decide, do I want to reach on a tight end, or do I want to, because they're going to start falling in those rounds where you still need to get receivers and running backs and things like that. So you gotta, like Christian was saying, have your strategy, have your goal on what you want to go for, which it looks like, you see, one pick away. You think you can get them on the back end, or you want to get them reaching?
So this is what I'm thinking about going. I'm still trying to covet that running back position. So I'm not a big filler of like Chris Godwin or like Marquise or Hollywood Brown this year. And I think George Kittle is actually going to take a step back. But there are 2 guys here that I do like. I do like Miles Sanders, and I'm pretty sure I can get that stack with the Panthers. But I also like Cam Akers as well.
Okay.
And I think Cam Akers is going to do some big things, but also that's solidifying, similar to the actual running back position. We really don't have to think about a running back for like a while now.
Right.
And then we can just pick up other positions. So like the next one, it can end up being Trevor Lawrence if he doesn't, so we can get that stack with Travis Etienne. Or we can end up zagging the opposite way and going a different route. Because there is a QB out there that I don't think has been taken yet. And I'm a fan of this guy, I am a big fan of Anthony Richardson.
And you can get him things about him in camp too.
You can get him up in the late rounds.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You can either get AR-15. I'm sorry that I called him that. He does not want to be called that. AR-5, and then you can also pair him up with Alex Pierce. So you can see right here, we're on the clock. But like what I said before, like it's like this draft is like falling to us, and we can get our first QB, which I think getting Trevor Lawrence right here would be very good. What are your thoughts about that?
I agree. Yeah, that I'm all for ascending offenses, quarterbacks who are going to be on ascending offenses, and I think the Jags are going to be a team that's taking a step up this year. And then Travis Etienne matched with that, and then the weapons that Trevor Lawrence has, just there's so much to be excited about with that offense in fantasy.
Yep.
And then I don't know if Christian Kirk is gone already, but you might be able to steal him a little bit later on too.
Nah, he already went. He
He already
went like
went.
right up before he went. But
Okay.
if I did not take Trevor Lawrence right there, some of the other guys that I was thinking about getting, because it's in the range where we can start loading up even more up on wide receiver, is I thought about either going George Pickens or also Jordan Addison. Like in our last episode, and like our must draft players, I had Jordan Addison because I'm really high on Jordan Addison this year, as they call him the number 3 role, because right now they're saying KJ Osborne is getting like a bulk of like the work. But everybody, we've seen that same play happen whenever Justin Jefferson came into the league and he went to the Vikings. They was talking about how Adam Thielen was getting all the like majority of all the shares, and then eventually it started off like that for like the first couple weeks. But we already know what happens with guys out there. We know rookies need to actually play, but they need to
And
understand the actual playbook, and it takes time.
yeah,
Like the game speed changes, and they understand that. So
one
once
of
he
the
hit week 4, go ahead.
one of the things about that offense as well is that I think that the loss of Dalvin Cook is going to
Mm-hmm.
impact them more than people realize. And I think that their passing numbers, they already pass a lot, but I think those numbers are probably going to go up, and they're going to be more shootouts than they would have been if they had still had Dalvin. Madison is good, but he's not
Yeah,
Dalvin Cook. And,
exactly. But
so
we're going
there,
to see what he's going to do this year. They're going to give him the opportunity, and if he can't handle it, then they have 2 other good running backs right behind him in Ty Chandler, which I personally think that he's similar to Dalvin Moore, but he's a lot faster.
right,
And then they also have
Dwayne
Dwayne
McBride,
McBride,
who I'm
who
high on.
is a thumper,
Yeah.
and we'll see what he can end up doing up in the offense, because we don't know what he's going to do right now, but we will see. Like, we know everybody, thank goodness, preseason is coming back this Thursday. We're going to be able to see these games and just see like what the offense is, and like football's back, everybody. Like,
It's
we're
back.
just in here drafting right now, taking this time by time, looking at the board. So right now, if people that are not watching are able to watch the video, our team right now is at quarterback we have Trevor Lawrence. At running back we have Travis Etienne. We also have Najee Harris, Cam Akers. At wide receivers we have CeeDee Lamb and we have Chris Olave. And right now on the board, some of the high guys out there, people are still like, a lot of people are reaching up on running backs right now. That's why we were saying like you can go in with the strategy, but you also got to go in knowing where other people are zigging. You're gonna have to zag. And what we mean by that is sort of how similar we was talking about. Trevor Lawrence just fell to us. Also, the same thing with like Najee. We
Right.
had the choice. We could have either went Travis Etienne or we could have went Najee first. So we took the upside up on Travis Etienne, which the coach talking about he wants to get him 1,600 yards, 1,700 yards. So we took that into consideration, which what you should be doing whenever you are looking and doing all the studying out there on all these players, and then understanding like what the coaches are saying, because sometimes what the coaches are saying, it could just be that bull job. But if a coach is seriously talking about a key starter and things like that, you might want to listen to what he's saying.
Right.
So right here in the 7th round at 7.10, people, and like this is another instant, everybody, like right now, the person that is on the board right now, it is Jordan Addison, Zay Flowers, and then Quentin Johnson at wide receivers. They also got DeAndre Swift, who I'm not a big fan of. But who are you thinking about right here, and who would you think about picking?
I would go either Flowers or Addison here. Probably
Okay.
Flowers, because I've heard that he's essentially the best receiver at camp, and it's not even close.
Okay. So everybody, just so we're putting like a point to like thing, we just did select Zay Flowers, and that's okay. But we did not get what happened before, where the guy that was actually behind us in the draft, they ended up taking Jordan Addison, which I didn't know if he was going to fall to us or not. But this is another round where you're actually looking to see what's out there. Like you also want to be different from everybody else. Like, we also got another good person out there who I'm thinking about. This is the route we should end up going if this guy's still here. But what are your thoughts about Treylon Burks?
I actually have a weird feeling that he could outperform DeAndre Hopkins this year.
I do too as well.
That's I haven't spoken on it much because it sounds like blasphemy, and I know most people would probably feel that way, but I feel that the way the offense is going to be set up and the way teams are going to defend D Hop, I don't think Tannehill is going to be able to throw those tight windows. And so he's going to throw to who's going to be more open, and it's probably going to be Burks just because the teams are going to defend D Hop. They're going to double D Hop. So it's not going to be like a massive blowing them out the water thing, but I could see, one having like, 900 to 1,000 and the other one having like 1,100 or something like that. I could definitely see that in the range of outcomes for both of them. I'm not high on the Tennessee offense in general.
Which I don't think anybody's ever high up on the Tennessee offense because of how they use the wide receivers in that position.
Right. And then their offensive line took a step back as well. So, I'm definitely going to take a run at players like D Hop and Burks, who I know are studs, but if there's other guys that I can get, later on, I definitely would. Or around that range, I definitely would. And that's just because of the offensive situation, not because of the skill or the talent of the player. It's more so about I just don't think Tennessee's in a good situation.
Okay. And
like I see a
11
path
picks
where
away.
I can see a path where Tannehill is benched mid-season and then put back as the starter and then benched again. Like I could see them having some chaos at that position. So
Okay. And we are 10 picks away. And also with this going as well, Anthony Richardson did just get taken. So it kind of sinks that he did get taken. But we do have a good QB up in Trevor Lawrence, which a lot of people do not know. This man can end up running and using his wheels, but he chooses not to. It's very disheartening that he doesn't run a little bit more because he has the ability to run.
yeah.
But right now, like, we're 9 picks away, and just for the people that are listening to up on the audio version, which we do thank y'all, don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that Apple Podcast. Gonna give us a 5-star rating, because what we're doing here is we're trying to serve you and give you the best draft strategies, period, that we can. And right now, our board is setting up with Trevor Lawrence at quarterback still. We got Travis Etienne. We have Najee Harris, Cam Akers. We added CeeDee Lamb, Chris Olave, Zay Flowers, and then Treylon Burks. And also right now that's on the board, just to give people a visual, Kadarius Toney is out there for the Kansas City Chiefs. Dalvin Cook, who has not signed yet, is still out there. Evan Ingram, who we could end up going that route to get that stack.
Yep, that was actually my
But
thought.
then there's whenever I'm big on zigging, one dag on everybody zags. And what I'm thinking about is, if this player is there, I'm thinking about going this route, and I'm thinking about going J-Mo. And the reason why I'm thinking about going J-Mo is because I'm also big up on Jared Goff this year. And we all know who that tight end is out there too for the Detroit Lions. It's that Sam Laporta.
Yep.
And this year, I am big on a lot of rookie tight ends. I think this is the year that the rookie tight ends are going to end up taking the torch from some of the veterans and actually stamping their name in, saying, "Hey, no, I'm here. I'm taking over." And this tight end, or what they call it, who started it? Was it Kelsey, or was it George Kittle?
George Kittle,
tight end U.
Yep.
And they're going to end up solidifying what's going to end up happening out there. So right now we have, like, a lot of people are reaching on like Kadarius Toney, Rashad Bateman, Jacoby Myers up in Las Vegas. And right there, you still got Dalvin Cook, which it's still a good, like, even if he sits out, like, what he's doing is he's playing the ball game. He didn't want to go to training camp. Like, a lot of people don't want to go to training camp now.
All right, so
And
Dalvin's
so
gone.
Dalvin Cook was taken. So what are your thoughts here? I want to play a little. I want to see if we can actually make this.
If you zag, you can get Jameson Williams. I would have gone Evan Ingram because I like that stack, and Evan Ingram is one of my top 5 tight ends in fantasy.
Okay, we'll go Evan Ingram right now, but we'll see if J-Mo is going to end up being there. So the reason, well, we'll see if J-Mo is going to be there, which
with him being suspended for 6 games, I think people will probably pass him.
A lot of people might not. Yep, that is very true. So right now, everybody, we do have our stack lineup, which is the Jaguar stack, which is Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, and then Evan Ingram. And I think we're looking pretty good right now. The people that just went off the board after us was Odell Beckham Jr. Then you have Antonio Gibson, Zach Charbonnet. And right now on the board, it is... So the guy just took J-Mo. So we just got sniped, and then he just picked J-Mo. So what's on the board right now? And it's like, what are you thinking about out there? Like, what are you thinking? The one thing that I'm thinking about going right now is because I've heard a lot about this guy.
I like that pick.
Devon Achane. I'm thinking about going real hard on Devon Achane is because what's being said about this rookie and all the defensive players are saying is that this dude is actually good. Like, he can actually tote the rock all 3 downs. And if he's able to do that, that might... They still might bring in Dalvin if Dalvin wants to come to Miami. But what that's going to end up doing is that's going to knock Raheem Mostert pretty much out of the running back for 4 touches. Yeah, it's going to be a 2 running back by... Well, y'all can say it by committee, but it'll be like an A and B type of running back chain.
It's a 1-2 punch. Yeah, that's
that thunder and lightning.
Right. So Raheem Mostert's on my players to avoid this year, in the draft guide. Okay. I am a big fan of Mostert. I have been since he was a 49er. I know what he's capable of as a player, but he's in his 30s. He's got a high injury history, and in general, his thing is he's able to hit the ground, hit a cut, and be gone. He's got the speed element. That's what Devon Achane is coming with. And when you got a younger guy who can do the same thing, it's only a matter of time before the young buck takes the reins. So, with his injury history and with that backfield being muddied already because they drafted him, they still have Jeff Wilson Jr. and there's a chance of Dalvin Cook. I just don't see enough fantasy relevancy for Raheem Mostert for me to want to take a chance on drafting him.
Okay. So right here, we are 13 picks away. And there's a guy out there that I'm really, really big on in the 10th round. And actually, this dude is going to fall to the 11th, but I don't think we're going to get him. And I think this guy can end up being the tight end number. And this might be a bold take right now from everybody out there. I personally think that if this team uses this guy how I think they're going to end up using him in their offense, this rookie tight end can end up being a top 5 tight end with ease, potentially tight end number 2 behind Mr. Travis Kelce, and that is Mr. Dalton Kincaid.
Ooh. So this is probably one of the takes that you and I have probably differed on. And it's not that I don't think Dalton Kincaid has the talent. He definitely has the talent. It's more so about how the Bills historically have utilized the tight end position. I don't know if it's just Josh Allen doesn't look to that portion of the field. I don't know if it's that the offensive coordinator has not been able to properly scheme tight ends open. Or I don't know if it's just because Dawson Knox just wasn't the athlete that some of these other tight ends are. But historically, you just haven't gotten great, consistent production from Dawson Knox. You'll have those occasional games where he might get 2 touchdowns, in the red zone and like 2 catches for like 30 yards or something like that. But he hasn't historically been someone that you can really rely on week to week in fantasy. I do think Dalton Kincaid could slide in as their number 2 receiving option because I'm kind of off the Gabe Davis train. But I don't know if it depends on how they use him. If they split him out, kind of like they do Travis Kelce, run him from the slot every once in a while and things like that, and they can create mismatches, then yeah, he can absolutely be one of the top 3 tight ends in fantasy. But I'm not confident that they'll be able to do that. That's just me.
See, that's where we go with when everybody zigs, everybody you got to zag that other way.
Got you.
And right now we might just end up zagging the other way. But what we also want to look out there is what's out there for us. So right now we're about to get on the clock, and there's some good potentials out there. What are you thinking? And I'm just looking at the reason why I went Dalton Kincaid is because I've been doing a good amount of drafts, and it's just his value right there at 124.7, which is roughly late in this round.
Right.
So we can either zig or zag. We also got Jared Goff, who we can get. But then we're also trying to think about our stacks that like what other stack can we do? Like what stack? And another good thing right there, Mr. Sweetleaf done sniped us twice in a row. So what are you thinking about right here? We got about 17 seconds. Like, are you thinking about going QB to get a second QB in like Jared Goff? Or
Yeah, I would go Jared Goff here just because
okay.
I'm not crazy about any of the other players around that area, and there's no reason to reach outside anything
To reach on
crazy.
something.
Yeah.
Like I'm not high on Damon Harris.
Yeah.
The other person that would have been good is getting a little dicey is that Greg Dolch. Like
So
which I'm a
I
little
was
high.
I was high on him too, and I actually talked about him in the guide. The unofficial depth chart came out, and I don't know if you remember Adam Troutman, who was with the Saints.
Yeah.
Adam Troutman was brought over to the Broncos once Sean Payton came over, and he is currently listed as the starting tight end. So the fact that Payton was the guy who originally drafted him, and then as soon as he came back into the league, was like, "Hey, come over here with me." I'm thinking that he'll probably be the featured tight end. It's not saying that Dulcich won't have value. He could, but
we're on the clock right now, so we got about 13 seconds. Who you thinking about? We can talk. We can go back into that.
Mingo.
We got. I was just about to say Mingo is sitting right there.
You got 3 seconds. Yep.
And just so you know, guys, like I'm a big Carolina Panther fan. Y'all can see the jersey up in the back. I'm high on Jonathan Mingo this year.
Yes, sir.
And the funny thing about it is we can end up getting that Carolina Panther stack up in the back end, I think, personally. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of people, and I mentioned this up in the other episodes, is a lot of people ain't sleeping on up on the Panthers. But what people don't realize is that Bryce Young, he is distributing the ball out to everybody.
Right.
But there is one guy who he looks to a lot more than like what he should. But that's his safety blanket. And that's Mr. Hayden Hurts. And right now, like you really don't even have to worry about getting Hayden Hurts up in the back end. But just to talk about the team right now so people can actually get a visual, at quarterback, we do have Trevor Lawrence and we do have Jared Goff. Then we also have Travis Etienne at running back, Najee Harris, Cam Akers, Devon Achane. At wide receivers, we have CeeDee Lamb, we have Chris Olave, we have Zay Flowers, we have Trayvon Burks, and then we also have Jonathan Mingo. And then at tight end, we have Evan Ingram. And right now on the board, who are some guys out there that you are thinking that might be some good selections for like our next pickup and 10 picks away?
So 10 picks away.
Mm-hmm.
I am, and just if we're just staring at the board as is right now, I would probably suggest, and I don't know if I would want to go two tight ends that quickly. I would probably go Laporta, but we don't
Okay.
have. So we have Golf, right?
Yes.
So Golf and Laporta. It's not a full stack, but it's a little mini stack there. Definitely some value there because there's definitely going to be some high scoring weeks. And from what I've heard, Laporta has been dominant at camp.
Correct.
If we didn't go Laporta,
You also got, now I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there. We don't have to go Laporta, but there also is Matthew Stafford still out there. And we don't know what he's going to do this year. And a lot of people are already taking him off their draft board saying, oh, the Rams are going to stink this year. They're not going to be good. Well, if the Rams end up stinking, we already know what they got to do. They want to throw the ball, everybody. They're going to have to throw the ball. And we already know how, oh, shoot, your boy Brock Purdy went off at 13.4, dog. That's the highest I've ever seen him go.
It's because he was recently named the number one, which, kudos to him as a 49ers fan. I'm happy that we at least are decided on somebody. But I think that's a little high for him. I think Brock is kind of a gambler at the position, and most of his gambles will pay off. But a lot of people don't realize last year he had a lot of should have been interceptions that got dropped.
Yep.
A lot that hit the defender in the chest, and linebacker ain't coordinated, can't catch it, or stuff like that. So I'm a big fan of Brock. I like the way he moves the offense. I think that under him, the offense has looked good. We were averaging 30 points a game versus with Jimmy and Trey was closer to like 20-ish, like 21, 22. So I definitely like that improvement offensively. But that's a little high. All right.
And we're on the clock.
Yep. Laporta, if he's there, I'd take him.
Yeah, so everybody, we're going Sam Laporta as our second tight end behind Evan Ingram.
And so now we have two tight ends. We have enough quarterbacks. I, at this point, would only focus on running backs and receivers, mostly receivers if there's value there.
Yeah.
One
guy who I'm thinking right now, and that's just because I think he's going to do big things this year. And this is the reason why I wanted Anthony Richardson, is because I wanted some Alec Pierce as my wide receiver, just to pair up with him.
So me and your normal co-hosts were doing a best ball together, and we missed out on a lot of our receivers that we wanted, but we grabbed Josh Downs today. And it just so happened that some clips got out today of him torching defenders. And I already knew what he could do because I'm a Carolina fan, so I remember him from UNC. But seeing that, and I know there were questions about his size and everything like that. What I'm starting to realize with these receivers, the size does matter for certain players. If you got a guy who is shifty enough, who can get off the line, and can make a move, he can make it in the NFL even if he's slightly undersized. So some of these, I know a lot of people were like, all these receivers are small this year, but some of these guys are still going to do well because they're quick enough off the line and they know how to make a move, make somebody miss, create separation, and they got good hands. So if you're that type of receiver, you can still find success even if you're not 6 foot and 210 pounds.
Yeah. So also right here now, we do have a pretty good system right now. The one guy before I pulled the trigger, because everybody out there, we probably only had maybe 3-4 seconds just to pick a person. So I did end up picking Alec Pierce, but I kind of was hesitant on that. Not because of what you were saying. It's just I saw another guy down there on the board, who I think is going to be Mr. Jordan Love's favorite target, which is Jaden Reed, who I did not end up selecting, and he just went at 14.6. And I'm actually really high up on Jaden Reed this year. I really think it's just something about these rookies, man. Just something about these rookies that I'm high on certain ones and seeing the potential that what they can end up doing in certain offense. Like there's another
This
one right now that is still on the board, which is Jalen Hyatt. And I think I'm in all the other episodes, I probably was dogging some of the Giants players, but the more you actually go back and you actually look at what Dayball does as a head coach, Dayball is just like he is the tight end, or he is a good OC, but he gets the best out of his players, but he also gets them open too. And
so
with that speed and with Darren Waller coming in, they might be able to do something. But I'm also not a big fan of Darren Waller, only because of his health. I think he's a great athlete, but I don't think he's going to be healthy the whole year. And that's just me going off the past. But things could change, and that Giants offense could end up be looking scary.
So I've been in on the Giants all off season. A lot of people have called me crazy. I'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
I have not changed my stance, not one bit. Everything that I've seen this off season has reinforced what I already believed. The fact that Saquon re-signed, it reinforced what I already believe is that this Giants offense is going to surprise a lot of people this year. And the fact that
Okay.
they made the playoffs last year. So you have to realize they made the playoffs last year with Daniel Jones only throwing 15 passing touchdowns. That wasn't even a passing touchdown
Right.
every game. He was efficient on the ground. He had 700 yards rushing. Saquon had his highest rushing yards ever. Saquon had a bunch of receptions last year, and they had no wide
Mm-hmm.
receivers. So they bring
Okay.
in Paris Campbell this year. They bring in Darren Waller this year. They drafted Jalen Hyatt, and so now he has some weapons. Now, still got Saquon. He's got another year in the system. I think that offense is going to surprise a lot of people. That's one of my teams.
Okay.
That's one of my sleeper teams for this year.
But they're really not sleepers, though, because they made the playoffs.
Well, people still for some reason do not believe that they're any good. They're looking at it as more of a fluke, and so I mean, even the people who like, oh yeah, Daniel Jones made the playoffs, but he's not that guy. Was it
Okay.
Le'Veon Bell said that Daniel Jones was a bottom 5 quarterback or bottom 10 quarterback, something like that. So it's like a lot of people are not bought in yet. They still don't believe that this team is on the up and up. I'm not saying they're gonna all of a
Okay. So
sudden. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm not big on Daniel Jones. I'm big on the head coach and bringing the best out of Daniel Jones.
Yep,
But
that's what I'm buying into.
With us being on the clock, so we have 2 QBs, we have 4 running backs, and we have 6 wide receivers, and then 2 tight ends. What are you thinking
Justin
about going
Ross,
here? Are you thinking about, huh?
Justin, oh,
Justin Ross?
Either Bryce Young or Justin Ross. That's where I would go.
Okay,
We
so
got no.
I'm
We
going to
got
do
how
a
many
little zigging and
QBs?
zagging.
We
We
got two
already got
QBs.
2.
All right, we got 2 QBs. All right, so yeah, I would
Yeah.
go Justin Ross here.
And we're going to see if we're going to get a little zig where we're dagging people zag. We took Justin Ross because of his upside. Since his QB is Patrick Mahomes, he might end up going out there doing like a 30-point game one week. And we also got to remember, this is best ball. It's
Right.
probably the best platform just to get you out there ready for your drafts, and that people are actually paying money just to actually draft. And then you're drafting with some of your friends, but then you're also able to win a little something up on the back end. So like right now, we're seeing that Bryce Young has not been taken, and you thinking about going Bryce Young right here,
I mean,
or are you thinking about going Juwan Johnson?
See, I don't know what Juwan Johnson is going to be with Derek Carr
Mm-hmm.
there. because he wasn't great last year, right? No, he was good last
Well,
year.
he did
Excuse
his
me,
best numbers. So we
last year.
got 5 seconds. Bryce Young
You
oh,
run
I
it.
guess
You run it. Yeah.
we going Bryce Young, everybody. We just went Bryce Young. So we got
All
that
right.
Bryce Young and then Jonathan Mingo stack going on right now, which a lot of people are saying, and that's just from the grapevine out there, that Bryce Young could end up being rookie offense of rookie of the year if he ends up staying healthy.
I can see that.
But we already know it goes to a QB. But if he's healthy for the full year, and with the NFC South having the easiest schedule, because I think the Panthers' schedule is, I think
Fourth or
they're the
fifth.
fifth easiest.
Yeah.
So they're top five still. And what a lot of people don't realize is that the Panthers was got the number one overall pick, but was not a number one overall pick team that was like decimated or like didn't have a future or anything.
Right.
There was only one game out the playoffs.
Right.
But I don't think people understand that. So a lot of people are saying that the Saints are going to take over this division. We're going to see. But I don't think that's going to happen, dog. So we're done at
Okay.
receiver, so we can get rid of the wide receivers. That's the only thing I was trying to say. Oh wait, no. Oh, all right. It's not letting me take off the wide receivers. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Oh yeah, there you go. So right now, our team is, as of now, we already got our QBs. Our QBs are done. We're not even looking at QBs anymore. We got Trevor Lawrence, Jared Goff, Bryce Young. At running backs, we have Travis Etienne, Najee Harris, Cam Akers, and then Devon Achane. At wide receiver, we have CeeDee Lamb, Chris Olave, Zay Flowers, Treylon Burks, Jonathan Mingo, Alec Pierce, and then Justin Ross. And at
I like
tight
that a
end,
lot.
Evan Ingram, and then Sam Laporta.
So we need to see what running backs we can get here, right? All right. So what?
So if we're just focusing on the running backs right here, even though technically, like what I said, everybody, we can zig where like people zag. Pretty much, y'all, they ain't no running backs out there. That's why we say you got to get your guy. Like there are some guys that you can just throw flyers at, like a
I
Ty
like
Chandler, and then hope you get something.
I like
Another
Evan Hall.
flyer, that's another guy who I was high on, which in the rookie draft that myself and then Mr. NM Porterfield was in. I ain't say nothing about Evan Hall because I was hoping he was just going to fall into the actual auction draft, but it didn't make it that far. He ended up taking them.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also what other running backs are you thinking about right there? Because this will be like our last two picks. So
So
would
I
you want
like
to go like another tight end? There's
I like
another tight end
Deneric.
out there that I'm high out there on, but go ahead.
So I like Deneric Prince. I like Luke Musgrave a lot right now at tight end. I've been
So
hearing that he has been eating at the Packers camp. So he's one of the tight ends that I'm high on.
So another tight end that I'm high on is, I told y'all I love these rookies. Is I like Michael Mayers, dog.
That's a good one.
I am high on Michael Mayers, and we was not able to get our stack everybody with the Panthers because Hayden Hurst was taken. But what we can do is, so what are you thinking about right here? Would you want to go with? We can go like Luke Musgrave and just see what he does. But I'm also high on Michael Mayers because I don't think they have anything out there besides for Devontae Adams.
Do Mayer. I would definitely go with Mayer, especially with Jimmy's proclivity to throw towards the middle of the field.
And that's another reason why I was high on Mayers too, is because technically all he's doing is just taking the role of
George Kittle.
Of Darren Waller. Well, yeah, of Darren Waller and then George Kittle too. Yeah, both of them.
Yeah.
So with our last pick, what are you thinking? We'll need just to go running back, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely
And
say go
which
running
running
back.
back would you want to throw a flyer on? Ty Chandler or like Evan Hall?
I want to throw a flyer at Evan Hall, and there's two reasons for that. First reason, of course, we don't
Okay.
know what's going on with Jonathan Taylor, and there's a big chance
Final
that,
answer.
yeah, that's my final answer.
So final
Um,
answer, everybody. We are going Evan Hall.
the second reason why is that Evan Hall was initially brought in to be a receiving running back. Um,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of you may remember that Naheem Hines had performed that role before going over to the Buffalo Bills. So he was brought in for his receiving profile, meaning that even if Jonathan Taylor was going to play, there's still the opportunity for him to have the receiving upside and provide, he can give you 12, 15 points off of taking a
Mm-hmm.
reception to the house, So that is still there, but he's built like a 3-down back. So just because he was brought in
Yep.
for receptions does not mean that he's, just a little scat back. He's built like a 3-down back. So with that being the case, and with Jonathan Taylor's situation being up in the air, I think he was the best pick for that last pick.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was a good selection. So right now we're looking at we're also going to go back over the actual full draft and just say like who the team is. We also want everybody to go on and get yourself out there, go and get that Burn the Playbook draft guide.
Yes, sir.
Just show some support out there to Mr. NM Porterfield. He worked really hard on it.
I appreciate that.
Let the people know like where they can actually get it from. Like what's the website that they can go to just to get it, or where is it located?
Yeah, so it's just go to burntheplaybook.com. Very simple. No weird spellings or anything. Burntheplaybook.com. There's only 3 pages on there, and the page that you want to go to is the guide. And then once you scroll down, you can either purchase the guide directly from that link, or if you want to subscribe to the Patreon, you can subscribe to the Patreon, which is also linked on that page, and you'll get the guide for free. And then it'll also get you other perks, like you can reach out to me for fantasy advice. You'll be able to join the Discord and other things. So those are the
Okay.
2 ways that you can get the guide. But like I said, burntheplaybook.com is your easiest method.
Okay, so for everybody that is not able to see the draft board and what we can end up doing, the draft has ended, but what we're going to end up doing is we're going to go back to um, the results of it, and we're going to check it out just so we can let y'all know how it ended up finishing. Oh, this is what I won. But right now it's just searching. So let's see. Okay, so here's the one that we ended up doing. Everybody that's able to actually see, and we're going to show the full draft. So we're going to break it down. We drafted from the 1.10 position, and we ended up going in the first round. We went CD Lamb. In the second round, we went Chris Olave. In the third round, we went Travis Etienne. In the fourth, we went Najee Harris. In the fifth, we went Cam Akers. In the sixth, we went Trevor Lawrence. In the seventh, we went Zay Flowers. The eighth, we went Treylon Burks. And in the what was that? The ninth,
Yep,
we
nice.
went Evan Ingram. 10th, we went Devon A-Chain. 11th, we went Jared Goff. 12th, we went Jonathan Mingo. 13th, we went Sam Laporta. 14th, we went Alec Pierce. 15th, we went Justin Ross. 16th, we went Bryce Young. And in the 17th, we went Michael Mayers. And to end off, then the 18th round, we went Mr. Evan Hall. Is there any picks right there that you are thinking about that we should have not taken and went somebody else?
Let's see, scroll up, and it's not even that I
Actually.
wouldn't have taken them.
Mm-hmm.
So with me picking late in the first round, I
Mm-hmm.
probably would have went Nick Chubb over CD Lamb.
Okay.
However, you probably wouldn't have been able to get CeeDee Lamb on the turn. But I'm really big on Nick Chubb this year, and I like if I can't get my receivers early, like one of the top 5 receivers, I like solidifying my running back earlier so that I can focus on receivers later on. But beyond that, it's still a great pick because CeeDee Lamb, like I said, is probably going to be – there's a chance CeeDee Lamb is a top 5 wide receiver in fantasy. You know, I'm actually bigger on him than Stephon Diggs. You know, so – and even though I don't think the Cowboys as a team are going to be as good, I still think the fantasy opportunities are going to be there for CeeDee Lamb. So that was probably the only thing I probably would have done differently. Everything else, man, it just seemed like everything else seemed to fall great. Like you have a great set of running backs, you have a great set of receivers, you have great quarterbacks, especially with the stacks and things that we were targeting. This is actually a very good draft. Which, like I said, so last time I was on here, I haven't had this much luck on drafts. So it's cool to see some good things falling because mine has not been.
Oh, falling. Yes. For everybody out there, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Cerberus Fantasy YouTube channel where we're going to be bringing out dope content throughout the year. And we got some special treats out there, especially for whenever football season gets back into the swing of things. I heard they're going to end up having some like sit-start videos, some buy low, sell high videos, and some waiver wire pickup videos as well. So that's one thing just to be up on the lookout for up on this upcoming season. And please don't forget to actually check out the actual website right now. The current website is Cerberus fantasysports.wordpress.com, and that's just the articles for the Campus to Canton League that they're also starting to form up too. They've just been writing some articles out there, but the new website is under construction where you will be able to see those same articles, but you would also be able to get the data that you want for your fantasy players as well, and that should be coming out right before the kickoff of the season. So go on and check out just some of the articles out there, and let's just go and deep dive, and let's just go on and get out there and have fun, everybody.
Yes, sir.
Any last words?
Burn the playbook. Y'all know it is if you've been struggling with your fantasy leagues, or you just don't know where to start, don't know what to do, have no clue how to find success, turn your game around. Burn the playbook. That's what we're here for. Every time we want to light it up and make sure we bring you something new, bring you something hot. So helmets on, mouthpiece in, let's light it up.
All right. Well, we want to thank everybody out there for listening to the podcast, listening to the very end. We greatly appreciate everything that y'all are doing here and listening to, because we are doing this. This is just a hobby. We just love fantasy football, and we're also out here just to entertain you. And we're also very thankful that Mr. NM Porterfield from Burn the Playbook was able to come on to the podcast just to do a draft strategy and just let us know out there, like, what you want to see next. Because, like, we are of the people, like, we want to give you videos that's actually going to help you out. Do you want to go into a draft and then do something that nobody has ever done before, which is not even have a strategy and just see how it actually goes? Like, that's one thing that we can end up doing for y'all. And to show, like, Exhibit A, which y'all just saw us actually having a strategy and just going through it, breaking it down play by play on, like, the reason why we're taking it. And then the next one, we can probably go in just blind and not even seeing, like, what it could end up happening if you do not have a strategy in the league. But y'all just let us know. Going to leave some comments out there. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the podcast, and leave the 5-star ratings. And go on and sign up, and then give us that thumb up on YouTube, and hit that subscribe button. We out, y'all.
Thanks for checking out another episode of Cerberus Gridiron Podcast, powered by Cerberus Fantasy Sports. Make sure you stay tuned for the next episode.